Losing games? Me too. We can fix that by changing our focus. Let's talk about it. There are 3 building blocks to becoming a better player. I put them in a pyramid because the bottom is the most important and the top is the least important, but you need all 3. After I explain all 3, I'm going to break down which one you should focus on to improve. The first building block is fundamentals. This is your foundation. The most important aspects of any fighting game are things like your spacing, your anti-airs, and your ability to avoid mix-ups. Things that you develop from playing a lot of games. That's how you build fundamentals, playing lots and lots of games. The second building block is knowledge. Now you can also get some of this from playing a lot of games, but this is where you're going to actually have to do research. Read the frame data, memorize the height and armor properties of different moves, and go in training mode and test how different attacks interact with each other. Knowledge you get from studying, watching videos, reading, testing. If you watch Pokken Basics or most of my guides, you're getting knowledge. The last building block is tech. Tech is short for technology. I don't even know how the fighting game community came up with that term. Tech is basically just a situational tactic or technique. Something that you can do in a specific instance, like a character-specific combo, meaty setup, or option select. Tech isn't something that you can base your entire game plan around, like something fundamental like spacing, but you can pull out this tactic in a position where other players might not know how to gain an advantage against them. So let's say I knock you down with Shadow Mewtwo and I do a meaty setup that you've never seen that's safe from most or all of your reversals. I can capitalize on this to get damage in a way that other players who don't know that tech wouldn't be able to. So those are the 3 building blocks: fundamentals from playing games, knowledge, and tech. Now if you're losing games, it's very easy to see which one of these you need to focus on more just by analyzing what type of a player you are. Since this is a pyramid, generally the better you are, the higher up on the pyramid you can go. And the newer you are, the lower on the pyramid you should work on. For example, let's say you're new at the game. You've only had the game for 2 weeks. You're getting bodied. You just need to play more games. When I first started, I would play about 100+ games a day. That's like 8 hours of just grinding ranked matches. Now you don't have to do all that. But before the frame data was fully known and before players had developed all of the tech and tactics that they have now, that was by far the most efficient way to improve yourself at Pokken, just playing a bunch of games. And that's how I got as good as I was at the early tournaments for Pokken. You're not even going to be able to apply all the knowledge you gain, react to situations, or come up with tech in the first place if you don't have all the animations already in your head. The repetitions of seeing the same situation over and over, and the awareness to react to what's happening on the screen. This also goes for players who have been playing for 2 years since Pokken for the Wii U came out and you're still getting bodied. You know you are. You need more games. You can watch all the guides, all the tech videos, you can have all these cool setups and character specific combos and high damage optimals, whatever you want. But you're still gonna have trouble landing that initial hit. You're gonna have trouble knowing exactly where you need to be on the screen. You're gonna have trouble with the fundamentals of the game, which is what you build by just playing games, just getting dirty and just getting in a bunch of reps. Now let's say you're more of an intermediate player. Maybe you're getting 2nd or 3rd at your locals. Or online you can beat most players, but when you run into a top player like Shadowcat or Slipping Bug, you get absolutely destroyed. You don't know why. You're like, I don't get it. I've been doing all this work, playing all these games, but I can't touch these players. The good news is you're working hard. You just need to work smart now. After you've improved your fundamentals as much as you can just by playing games, now you need to expand your knowledge. I'll use Shadowcat as an example. He's not just familiar with frame data. He's the one who created the entire projectile priority spreadsheet. He knows how to punish a ton of different moves. He knows when he's at frame advantage, frame disadvantage. He'll be able to punish things that you didn't even know could be punished. Once a top player realizes that there's a move or a set of moves that you're not able to deal with because you don't know their properties or either their frame data or the armor or the height, whatever it is, it's like a shark smelling blood in the water. They are going to rip you to shreds. The best players have a good collection of knowledge checks which they can keep in their back pocket to pull out whenever they're playing an opponent that they think might not be able to deal with it. Things like Dark Rise Drill, Decidueye's Soaring Stance mix-ups, Shadow Mewtwo's Neutral Y. Things that if you don't know what's going on, they can completely destroy you with without even having to pull out half their arsenal. Once you know what's going on, You can close that gap super fast, but you need to build that knowledge by checking out the frame data sheet, reading the projectile priority sheet, and going in training mode and testing the interactions between different moves and attacks together. The last building block is tech, and this is usually where the more advanced players should be focusing on. The players who get in the top 8, but then they fizzle out just after that. Or if you're getting even higher in the bracket, maybe you're getting to grand finals or winners finals, but there's 1 or 2 players you just can't beat. And you need that little extra edge to put you over the top. Maybe you need that extra setup that the opponent won't know about, that you can get a little extra edge in a 2 out of 3 situation. Coming up with new setups or learning things like perfect blocks, these are things that you can use to gain the advantage against an opponent in a 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 5 set, just to put you over the top and get you that W. Now, I'm not saying top players are the only ones or advanced players are the only ones who should focus on tech because it's so hard. In fact, a lot of the tech is not hard at all. But if you're not following this template in order, it can cause some serious problems because you'll have an unstable pyramid. I'll use myself as an example. I just played at NorCal Regionals 2018 and I placed 5th. I have a ton of tech, option selects, perfect blocks, hella meaty setups. I have the tech. Knowledge? I live in the frame data document. It's literally always up on my computer. The only reason you don't see it now is because I have everything minimized so that you can see the desktop background. I wasn't playing enough games. Let's look at some of the people that placed higher than me. Thanks Wallet doesn't even know frame data. Slipping Bug can't do option selects yet. He just learned how to perfect block last week. Cool Jake constantly presses buttons when he's minus. I don't even know if he knows when he's minus. The Muscle doesn't even have a switch. However, all these players did better than me because they all followed the template. The top 3 play an obscene amount of games online, always grinding, practicing, and building up their fundamentals and their skills. And while the Muscle can't play as much, he's always going to his locals, always consuming a lot of Pokken content, gaining knowledge as much as he can whenever he can. I made a video last year about practicality versus tech, and this is why I emphasized these building blocks of improvement. Take another scenario where you start with learning tech first before getting in the proper amount of reps or before gaining the proper knowledge in order to apply that tech. You might have some super sick combos that lead into an amazing reset and some cool setup afterwards. But again, like I said, it's going to be very hard to land that initial hit that can lead to the combo in the first place. Plus, you're not going to know why you're even using that particular setup. It's not going to be solving any problems for you because you're just throwing it out because you saw it in the video. You don't know what the actual application is, what the reason is for the tech that you're using. You don't have the fundamentals of how to space yourself when it's even your turn to attack so that you can land that initial hit to even get the setup off in the first place. Play games first, then get the knowledge. Then you find a problem that you need to solve in the game. Let's say you were getting hit by a certain setup every single time, or you knock the opponent down and you're like, okay, so what do I need to do after I knock them down? Maybe I'll come up with some sort of mix-up or setup against them. So you find tech to solve that problem. So maybe like if you were Shadow Mewtwo and you keep getting mixed up, you discover jumping reflect, and then you start practicing that, how to get out of certain setups. And since you have the reps and you have the knowledge of how and when you would want to apply that, you're going to be able to use it in the correct situations. When you come up with your own setup, like an option select, if you don't have the reps or the knowledge of the game's mechanics in general, there's no reason to learn option selects because it's not going to help you at all. But when you know, okay, when I knock my opponent down in this situation, they have these reversals that they can get up with, and this is going to stop these, this set of options. After this setup, okay, I'm going to use this option select side strike to beat them. You're solving a specific problem with tech instead of trying to solve all of your problems by finding a bunch of situational tech and trying to stitch them together. The better you are, the more you can focus on the higher blocks of the pyramid. First work harder, then work smarter, so we can avoid losing so many games. If you found this valuable, I have playlists with other videos just like this in the description. This is Bad Intent, go win some games.